fear is there to move you somewhere. All emotion is energy meant to move you. Emotion, energy in motion. Like it's meant to prompt you to pay attention to yourself as somebody who deserves safety and connection. So fear and faith. Like
Yeah.
fear prompts you to treat yourself like a friend of God. Fear
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to be something that we fight. It can be something we that it wakes us up. Fear really it makes you be quite alert. And often for those of us with mental illness, it it might prompt us to be way more alert than we wish we were all the time. The experience of hypervigilance is not necessarily pleasant.
Right.
um but it is a prompt. It is not the problem. And I think it's like that's the space that, when we go back to talking about healing, that's the space I love seeing people get to make a shift. Because when you start to treat your fear, which is part of you, it's just part of your body's physiological response to danger and the perception of danger. When you start to treat your fear as a friend who has something important to tell you, your life changes. Like
Yeah.
it there's room for things to not feel quite as terrible as they do when you're fighting part of yourself.
It's so very rare that I get to have conversations with somebody that's this mindful, because essentially what you're talking about is mindfulness, this sense of being curious about our emotional state instead of trying to judge it and say, oh, I shouldn't be afraid. The Bible says fear not, and so therefore I've got to cut that piece off and just go with,
Yeah.
I know God's given me love, power, and a sound mind, and it's this really bizarre Christian CBT is what I call it, where we just try to
Yes.
do some
Oh,
kind
it's
of like
bad.
thought replacement and we're all going to feel better now. And it
We're
just
it
doesn't
doesn't.
work.